Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, PA. And today we are honoring the Warrior Women co authors who are part of this amazing book, this co authorship that we are a part of, that we have been so graciously invited by our beautiful queen, Desiree Cruz. Unfortunately, she will not be on with us today, but she will be joining us on Friday, the 21st, at, I believe, noon or 1 p.m., but we'll definitely get that information out there for you guys so you can make sure you tune in and know what this is all about. So I am just so honored to be a part of this amazing co-authorship. And again, the title of the book is Warrior Women, coming out this spring pretty soon. I can't believe it. It's already getting there. And this is when we are turning our life lessons into our legacy. So when I was asked, I think I met Desiree. I knew of her because I met Jesse Cruz last May. And I knew of her and, their family, and they're just some beautiful, beautiful people. And I absolutely love them, what they do. But I didn't really get to know Desiree until my actual book launch for Building a Leadership Mindset this January that just passed. And then we went to Jose Escobar's birthday party, his triple stack business, celebrating his 40th birthday, celebrating uh, his step away from the 9 to 5 full-time entrepreneur. And I think he was celebrating one more thing. Oh, his actual book, winning the day. And Desiree was there. We had a great time. We danced the night away. And a few days later, after we, had some conversation, she's like, Nikki, I am doing this project and I would love for you to be a part of it. So I'm really not sure, what inspired her to ask me, but I was absolutely blessed and so thankful that, she did think of me. And being part of this book has been a great journey. It really has given me the opportunity to open a side of my story that I actually never spoke on before. I thought I was going to take it to the grave, but you know what? My story is a story that needs to be out there because everyone sees the successful Nikki, the Nikki that's doing her thing, the go-getter, but it wasn't always a pretty sight in my life, at least for me. But being able to tell this part of my story really shows that no matter what you go through, no matter what struggles you have, there's still an opportunity to redeem yourself and go into transformation. And again, my past does not define me. And I'm sure that a lot of people could relate, women especially, but I have some amazing, amazing women in the green room ready to share their part of their story, just kind of what this process has been for them, how did they get the call. So without further ado, we're going to bring up our first guest, and this is my queen from New York. I met her in October, and we have been connected ever since. The beautiful Jessica Roman. Hey, love, how are you?
I'm doing good, Nikki. How are you doing? Good to see you, and thank you to everybody for tuning in. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much. Did you see my new digs here? I got a new setup. My background changed. I'm finally branded at 100%.
First of all, let me just say you're fabulous because you like pink, apparently, with your logo. If you see my background, this is my home office. Perfect for it's like we have to work in this I'll say it masculine space, right, where we're having business meetings and we're handling business, we're doing contracts and all kind of things. But me, I'm a girly girl, so I have my pink coffee cup here, or I everything in my office is pink, so I love your logo. Super fabulous, the glowing around the globe. It just um it, it gives me hope when I see that. It gives me, like, you ever see those space themes where they just everything glows, and it's like, It's just so calming. That's how I see your logo. So congrats to you. We're here to
Thank you.
celebrate you too. You're also a
Thank
warrior woman. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I actually have my shirt on. You can't see it, but let me show it. I have my Warrior Women shirt on. Super proud of this.
Yeah.
So let me know, how were you introduced to this project, and how did you feel? Was it something that you were scared to do? Tell us a little bit about that introduction to this project.
Yeah, so Desiree, super cool lady. I met her also through Jesse, and she came to my grand opening of my company, Yummy Coaching Factory, back in November. She came down from New York to Florida, where I currently live, to help me celebrate the grand opening of my company. And I have for those who don't know, I'm a cake decorator. I'm also a coach, and I teach cake decorating classes to those who are looking to build their confidence in the kitchen. She and her daughter came down, and we spent a day together playing and laughing. Uh, Also, it was like the event was half business, half play. So we had like workshops built in, but at the end of the day, she was saying, wow, the energy in this room was amazing. Her and her daughter said that they had such a good time and they bonded during that experience. And we kept in contact. A few months later, I think it was after the holidays, she called me and was like, hey, I'm doing this Warrior Women's project. First of all, you got me with the name because I'm all about, first I'm like, okay, first you got me with the name because how many warrior men do we hear about? But we don't talk about the women who are also out here kicking butt. Like, girl, you got me
Yes.
with the name. So she was like, that. Well, that wasn't the that. She was like, that's not the whole thing. Let me explain it to you. And she was saying how she really wanted to leave a legacy for her daughter and any other young women that may come after her. And not only did she want to not, she didn't want to do it by herself. She chose other women to share their stories with her in an anthology book so that these women, young women that come after us, have a holistic view of, what they're going to go through and have some guidance from us who, have lived a little bit. I ain't gonna tell you my age. I've lived a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, enough to know a little bit. So the process, the other part of your question, the process of writing this book, it is my first published. So I'm a first time author with this book. First time author. Uh, it gave me confidence now to step out with my full authority book because I think sometimes for some, I'm a first generation business owner. I've done a lot by myself, but this being putting my name on something that was going to be infinite and like here for years after me, like it's a little scary. So the fact that I did it with a lot of other women helped me kind of get my feet wet. And I shared some really personal things about my struggle with perfectionism. And I think a lot of people can relate to in this world of digital comparison, we have models, we have people who are, have higher, more education than we do. We have people who come from different parts of the world, and you're always comparing yourself. The world is just set up for us to compare ourselves. So for me, the process of getting over my quote unquote what I used to perceive as limitations, my quirkiness. Sometimes I have a hard time focusing sometimes as a creative person with a brain that thinks in colors and I have all of these ideas and sometimes the execution isn't perfect and I come from a different listen, they don't make a lot of people like me, okay? So but I say that because I want to let people know your superpower is truly in your originality and how you use it. Think about you. So let's talk about you. You're in a space when you're in marketing, you're in you're in doing all kind of digital things. How many digital marketers, how many promoters do we know? But nobody can do it like Nikki. Nobody can be as fabulous as you are. Nobody can be as consistent as you are. No one has your tone of voice, that your certain touch. It's how you do something. I'm a cake decorator. My customers have plenty of options, but they continue to come to me because not of what I do, it's because how I do it. And it's imperfectly perfect. They love it for different reasons. So my purpose in doing my chapter is to free anyone from the shackles of comparison. That you don't have to be something you weren't created to be. It's unfair to them, it's unfair to you. Just be you.
Absolutely. That is beautiful. I cannot wait to read your chapter. And I know that some of us every Saturday have been, or every other Saturday, whenever we do meet this community of beautiful, amazing women that have been through some stuff and being in that vulnerable state and being able to share it and kind of break free from that illusion that we have to keep it to ourselves has been just a beautiful experience. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's just amazing. I can't wait to read your chapter. I can't wait for, for this to just launch and be out there and put in hands for women to actually um absorb and have that toolkit that they've been waiting for a long time, and the different struggles that we can share. So let's stay right there. We're going to bring on our next guest, and then we're going to have some Q&A all the way around. So we're going to bring up this amazing woman that I met in this group as well. Her name is Rebecca Hale, and I cannot wait to work with her even after Warrior Women. And let's get her right on here. Hello, Rebecca. Welcome. How are you? Oh, you're on mute, love.
All right, now I'm here.
Yay. How are you feeling today?
So good. It's good to be here. I loved hearing everything that Jessica shared. I was writing down notes when she was talking because it resonates so much with me. I'm new to many of the women in this group. I'm up in Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm just so excited to be involved in this project.
We are so glad to be a part of this with you as well. I know this is a scary time to really just put ourselves out there and, not knowing what we're going to receive after the book is like all over the world. So tell us, how do you know Desiree, and how were you introduced to this project, and what has been this experience kind of putting your story on paper?
Yeah, so I too met Desiree through her husband, Jesse. He's a great networker. And as you mentioned, Nikki, they're an awesome family. Everything that they talk about really resonates with me. So I've been following their journey. Desiree came from the environment, and I saw her free herself from being in the public schools and in special education. And I am from special education as well. I'm a physical therapist and I work in the schools. And so that was another thread that she and I shared. And she inspires me to get going with all of my dreams and aspirations of, being an entrepreneur and removing myself from that world. And so when she invited me to share my story, because that's really how I connected with Jesse, was the fact that they encourage people to tell their story. And getting on stage has been something that I've been wanting to do, sharing my story, something I've wanted to do. I've done a lot of teaching through books and webinars and podcasts, but it's always informational. And so when you go to share your story, a personal story, things that happen to you, that is a whole different experience. And so, I knew that I'm at a time in my life, and I think I'm a few years older than you, Jessica. I think I'm at a place where my story, it's important for me to share my story. It is why I do the work that I do. And so when I was invited to write a story, I never thought I would write anything. I'm not a writer. And so it was pushing me, and I was excited to do it. And I had written some things that I already had an idea of what I would want to share. So it kind of made me say, you can do this, like stretch yourself, you can do it. So I was really excited. What I didn't expect, there's so many things I didn't expect to happen, was as I wrote my story, I shared it with the people closest to me. So like my children, who I have two grown boys who are in their 20s, and they're part of my story, of course. And so I shared, like in the writing of it, I shared it with my parents. There were some parts that were hard, hard to just show to just my intimate circle. And my boyfriend is intimately involved in the unfolding of the story that I shared. And so he was very involved in me saying, I'm going to share the story. Are you okay with that? And he helped me really fine tune some of the parts of it. Was a really healing experience just to be able to share all of the pieces. And my story that I share is, compared to some of the other women's stories, is not necessarily a story that's going to like bring you to tears. And I don't share the most intimate parts of my story. I share the healing part of my story. So it's an interesting story to interject with some of the amazing stories that the other women have written. And so it was interesting because I remember as I wrote my story and I felt compelled to write it and I got to read it to the group, I just remember that initial feeling of comparison and jealousy. I don't know if anybody experienced that, but like, not just like, is my story relevant enough to be in this book? Because it's kind of, it doesn't share some of those really hard moments, though it has flexes of that. And so, but this group is so supportive. This community is so inclusive. And as people shared stories and said, oh, and listened to the story and then gave feedback. And then as we've grown as a group and we've connected and we get together each week, it's just, all of that just like flakes away, and I know, Jessica, you mentioned something about there's warrior men out there, and this idea of being involved with warrior women and the fact that we are everyday women, the idea of what a warrior woman really is, it's not the harsh edges that you think of. It's like the softness of women, like what the power of women really bring. And I love that about this group. And I love that about the feeling that I get in being in this group, and that I get to bring my femininity, which that wasn't something I brought to the table. That was scary for me. And that was not something, it wasn't safe for me to do that. And so this group has allowed that to come to the surface, and sharing my story and not dropping perfectionism and wanting to share my story so that other women don't deal with shame and guilt and unworthiness, like so much inspiration that comes out of the unfolding. And then like the last thing that really I think was so shocking to me was reading my story out loud to the group took on a whole different experience, because when you write your story, right, and then but when you say it out loud, it's something else. And I'm certain that when the book gets published and it gets out there, it's that part of the story is going to have another whole iteration and experience. So it's really been an awesome experience. I'm so glad to be a part of it. I can't wait to meet all of the women in person. I'm so excited for that in New York City. That's so thrilling. And so, yeah, I guess I'll zip it.
That is awesome. No, thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing your portion. So you're an absolute writer. We always say that we're not something when we are, we have it deep down inside us. And I mean, we write for many different things. If we journal, we just haven't put it in a book form, and now we have. So you're definitely an author. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on facing that fear. And I also wanted to touch base on relevance. We sometimes think that, again, going back to that comparison, that sometimes our stories are either not traumatic enough or not good enough or not worthy enough to be part of something. But I love what you said, that you are the balance of that. You are on the other side of that trauma and really sharing that healing. So it's just as important as each and every one of the other women's stories. So I just want to tell you that I believe I remember listening to your story, and it was powerful. And I know you got some great feedback on that. And it was a different perspective from what we had heard. And that's okay. We need a little bit of everything. So I am so glad that you said yes to you. You said yes to your story, to Desiree, and that it is something that we need, and it's in the book. I'm so excited. I can't wait for New York as well, to kind of just hug on you guys and just really share that. Seen when I seen that, we were about to publish, it's about to come out any day now, any week now, so I'm super excited about that. I said I have to do something. I have this platform. Let me get the ladies on. Let me showcase them, highlight them, because it takes the percentages are crazy, because so many people want to write a book, but there's really like 3 to 5% that actually do that. Or I think it was like a crazy number, like 1% that actually go through the whole process. So if we are in that 1%, I'm going to take it 100 days every day. So thank you so much, Rebecca. And now we're going to have some more Q&A. So stay right with us. We're going to bring the mom of the famous Jesse Cruz. He is just such an awesome, amazing man. Again, I met him back in May. I love the way he speaks. I love what he's about. And this power couple are just doing amazing things. But he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this amazing woman who also joins this group and is a part of this beautiful journey that we are all on. And she is no other than Sandra Cruz. Welcome, Mama. How are you?
Thank you, Nikki, for having me, and all the other ladies. But this is really an amazing project, and you're helping to put it all out there. So I appreciate that, because I'm a low tech girl in a high tech world.
Yeah, so we got your back. We have your back, and we definitely want to make sure that you are part of this. Well, you are part of it, and we want to highlight you just as much as, we all want to share each other's story and really be that shoulder that we can lean on. And I don't know if you guys seen, and now I know we've seen it, but our book cover where we're just holding hands into, we can say, sunset or sunrise, and that's really what this group is really representing, like the unity that we have, the support that's in this group. And tell us your experience on how you became part of this amazing project.
Well, like all of you have said, I met Desiree through Jesse. And she became my daughter-in-law, but she's more like a daughter than a daughter-in-law. So, she calls me mom, which I want all my daughters-in-law to do exactly that. And it was just something on her heart, but it was something I'd seen in her character already, knowing all the things that she's experienced. And I certainly didn't know her when she was younger, but that spoke volumes to me about her character and how she likes to build community. And of course, with our granddaughters, she instills it in them. So she wants to make it generational. And so I'm the elected oldest one of the group, I think. There might be one other that's older than me, but I don't think so. So the book to me speaks unity, like you said, the holding of hands, and it can't be just one group as opposed to another. It's multi-generational in the things that we all experience, things that we've experienced younger and middle age and older. And it's one part of the book is going to speak to somebody. So that's why, Rebecca, don't ever count yourself out on that one. Your amazing story is going to speak to somebody in a way my story won't, or Jessica's story won't, or Nikki's story won't. So we're not here to compare, because it's kind of a foolish thing to do. God didn't make duplicates. He gave us each individual fingerprints. Our voices are exactly different when they proven that with the recording. Our DNA is all different, but he put something in each one of us inside that he wants to come out to help people, to reach out to people, because that is something that is so needed. So many people are struggling with depression and discouragement and feeling overwhelmed and full of anxiety. And I'm only hoping that this book will, I see this book in Spanish, actually. I see it in Spanish, and I see it in women's programs, and I see it even reaching across to men. Men suffer in silence more often than we realize as women. So we're more vocal, I think, but putting it to paper has been pretty amazing. I'm sorry, I did mine. I started with pen and paper. I didn't do computer to start, but I got it there eventually. But that's how I stepped into this, and I'm only believing it's going to be bigger than what any one of us can imagine. But it won't be, because it was just us doing it. We did it together.
I 100% agree. Thank you so much for that. And you gave me chills when you said that we were not made as duplicates. Not even twins have the same fingerprints. And I'm going to be an aunt to quadruplets pretty soon. So I can't even wait to meet. I can't wait to meet them. But yeah, and I was actually listening to a motivational speech this morning from Les Brown, who actually spoke about that, how there's 8 billion people in this world, and we are all not the same. We all have our gifts and talents, and who would have known that we would all be authors today, right? I don't think that was, maybe at some point in time. I know for me, when I was younger, I said I wanted to be an author I want to have a book by the time I'm 40. And God really waited till I was 40 to publish my first book. He said, you said 40, so this is when I'm going to give it to you, which is pretty crazy. I could have done it sooner, but the opportunity did not show up. And I think that's exactly what needed to happen. But this is my second co-authorship. So I'm enjoying the process. I have about 4 more coming out. So I'm going to go around and just ask, are you ready to write another book, your own authority book? And I know Jessica already said it. And just let us know, how long do you think it would be before we see that book? That's for Jessica.
Oh, that's my question. I'm sorry. I thought you were still talking to Mama over here. That's okay. You know what, Nikki? It's going to come very soon, because what I didn't tell you was, like many people, I started, but I stopped. I have the outline to my book. I have the picture of what I want the cover to be like. I have all of the details, but the meat is the part that I struggle with. Not that I don't have the content, but it's like Rebecca was saying, actually writing it down. It's like therapy. It's like you have to face yourself when you're being honest with what you're putting on there. And I would start and I would stop, and I would start and I would stop. And then I stopped for a few months, and here goes my angel Desiree asking me to do this anthology. So now, seeing this process go to fruition and it being published and us celebrating together, I now know that I can't stop. I can't stop anymore. Even if it's hard, even if I feel uncomfortable, even if I doubt myself, warrior women press through. So it's not going to be too much longer that you have to wait.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I'm so excited. And Rebecca, has this given you the ammo, the things that you need to go ahead and write a full authority book on anything you want? It doesn't have to be what you wrote in this book, but has it gave you another inspiration to write your book?
Yes, it has. I would, same thing Jessica said. It's like everything I'm writing is causing the next emotional wave to come through. But my intention is to write the rest of my story, because that's just such a small portion. But I'm also, actually probably ahead of that project is 2 workbooks that that coincide with the work that I do. So like my two businesses, I'm creating workbooks around them to be able to share with the families and the women that I work with. So I'm pretty excited about that, because just being involved in the editing process and the publishing process, I'm like, okay, I can do this. And it's definitely not something I would have thought I was able to do. So I'm psyched about it. And I'd like to think that I can get the workbooks done this year. My intent is this summer to get like the content completed. So
Awesome. Well, congratulations. I can't wait to see that either. It's just going to be absolutely amazing. And we're going to go back to Mama. First of all, I just want to say thank you again for saying yes to you and not really thinking that, because some people tend to think that it's too late for them, and I want to speak to our seasoned women and men that are really not taking action because they think it's too late. What piece of advice going into this project, because she said she wasn't a writer, and she wrote an amazing story. I was able to hear your story, which was so heartfelt, and I love what you said, that it hits every generation, which is a beautiful thing. So it's for everyone, really. So tell us a little bit about that process, and what advice would you give to anyone who is at the age of thinking that they can't, and should they, if they still have a story?
Well, God used Moses when he was 80, and I'm not there yet. So I guess I got some time left. And God is outside of time, as we all understand. He's
Mm.
the God of eternity. So we look at things very finitely, and we have to, because there's we have restriction on ourselves in that way. However, the lessons that we learn in life are timeless. They are things that are valuable, that you can't neglect to tell somebody else out, because you don't know who you may be able to help. And I often heard it said that a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So sometimes your story or my story can be that very thing that will keep somebody from going in a direction that may be harmful to them. And not that God doesn't redeem that, but we can look at our lives. I can look further back than you all, because I'm older than you. So I can look further back and see where it would have been wonderful if someone had passed on certain things to me in life experiences. And I just feel it's important. I never think anybody's ever too old to pass on any wisdom, any treasures of that wisdom. I think that's something that's lost in this time, in these days. People are in such a hurry, but they don't really want to take the time to listen. And I think this book and writing these things down, it actually causes us to take the time to listen, because reading a book takes time. Writing the book, as we all know, takes time. So I think sometimes we forget, in our hurry up world where everything is instant. I mean, you got instant milk, instant microwave, you got everything is moving at such a quick pace, to slow down long enough to share those things of value to the next generation, because that is something that I think is, like I said, it's lost on people. People don't even want to write a whole sentence anymore. It's all abbreviation, and
Yes.
I have no problem with that up to a point, but it's like, I want somebody to just come sit alongside of me, have them tell me their story or what they think about something. And you're not going to get that on Facebook, as much as that's an amazing tool, or even this type of interaction, because these things take time. And I think that's the biggest value that we can pass on to people, is take the time to listen. Too many people are hearing, but they're not listening. And to slow that pace down a little bit, because they have to sit and read a book I think it's going to be of more value than you and I understand at this point. And I don't have a problem. I don't know how many days I have on the earth, but I'll write about, I'll write to people. I'd rather write them a thank you note or a birthday card, write it out by hand and send it. I'll send them an email too, but I want to take that kind of time, because I never think I can look back and pull out letters from my mom and my dad, though they've been gone for a long time. My dad's been gone for 30 years. My mom has just been gone 4, but I can pull those letters out, and those are treasures. So you're never too old to collect all of that, and you're never too old to share all of that with people.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. And thank you for bringing up those letters. I was actually, we were having a conversation with my BALM Global team, and me and my best friend, we have been best friends for 36 years. And she's about 5, 6 years older than me. And we used to write letters to each other all the time. And she was dating my older brother, and I would be at school and we would want to hang out. And my mom said, well, she can't go to your house unless she cleans her room. And she's like, okay, well, I'll clean her room for her. So she'll straighten up my stuff, and we had a typewriter, and we would type letters to each other. She would leave it on my desk. I would get to it, and then I would respond. And we had like notebooks for many years. And through moving from Chicago here and a few of her places, we were just so sad to say that we don't have anything to show. But even moving here in just the distance, we write letters to each other. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And we have to go back to the basics, to that personalized, intimate friendship. Let's get off of these Zooms sometimes and just go have a coffee face to face. And really, if you can, be able to enjoy the moment and build those relationships authentically. That's why I can't wait for New York, so I can spend a couple of days with you guys, get to know you guys on a deeper level. That's how we make connections. I've seen Jessica on Zoom a couple times before we met in October, and it was such a huge difference on how that connection was. And, we've been attached at the hip ever since. So you bring up some great points when it comes to that, and the empowerment that this group has had, the support, us tagging each other, us really, being there for one another. And I'm so excited for my event that's coming up May 20th, that I will be highlighting warrior women again, because I think the word needs to be spread all over, because this is going to be a book again that's going to hit you in one way or another. We don't know what that looks like, but you have to get the book to definitely see what it can do for you. The wisdom, the inspiration, the motivation, the Me Too moments that you're going to have, because we know we can relate to many people that have been through some of our stories, whether it's perfectionism, whether it's trauma or something. You're going to get something out of it. So I just want to give everyone the floor. And what are you looking for? Once the book launches, we do our New York tour. We do that. What are your hopes for warrior women moving forward? And we'll go with Jessica.
My hope, and I prayed about this. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and the fact that we're launching and celebrating the book, the release in New York, there's no coincidence. I grew up. I was born in the projects, in the hood, as they call it, and I want little girls, whether they be from the projects of New York or from the richest town of the suburbs, to know that you can truly be whatever you are, as long as you tap into those gifts that God is giving you and not allow other people to define you. That whole self-awareness path of realizing who you are and realizing who God has called you to be. I want these girls to be teenagers stepping out into their purpose and not waiting till they're 30, 40, 50, and 60 years old to find it. I want warrior teenagers. I want women to come into their own younger than me, and younger than all of us, because they have work too. And our job is to pass down the nuggets that we've learned to them. So that's what I hope to do, is duplicate my mindset into these young warrior teenagers so that they can be bad behinds here on earth when that's my hope for warrior women.
I love it. Oh my God, so powerful. I 100% agree. I am on that road with you. Just call me. We're going to make it happen. Because yes, this book is really, it's our stories, but it's really not about us. Anything that we do today is for generations to come, right? And I hope for myself, just going through this journey the last couple of years, I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. So to know that it is possible once you have all the tools, that you can actually prepare the next generation very early on. So that's just a beautiful thing. Warrior teenagers, hashtag warrior teenagers. We need to talk to Desiree. I love it. So thank you so much for that. Rebecca, what are your hopes for after everything's said and done and it's out in the world? What is your goal for warrior women?
I think I'll just piggyback on what Jessica was saying. I think the most powerful thing about the book is that it's hard for people to heal in their own story and become aware and aware of their experience and how it's impacted them from their own story. But when you read somebody else's story or you hear somebody else's story and you see a reflection of yourself, then it gives you the possibility, like especially when these stories are tragedy to triumph, right? So when you see like all of the things people go through and the possibilities that they get to the other side of it and how powerful it is, I know, like, I didn't tell anybody that I was involved in this. And when I posted it on my page, I had people calling me and saying, can I buy your book? And I want to read it. And I just didn't think that people would read it. And yet the work that I do, I know when I share my story or other women share their story in our circle, it allows people to see what's going on. So my hope is that women, men, children, those warrior teenagers really can see the possibility for themselves to have a powerful, transformational life, no matter what has been laid before them.
I absolutely love it. Yes, let's keep that theme going. It is just so powerful when you have a group of powerful women that, again, through their fear, through their thoughts of, how people are going to think about me, is this worthy? We still did it anyway. So I am just so proud of each and every one of us just for that, and making sure that we left something for people to see. So I'm just so excited about that. Mama, what are your thoughts? What are your goals for warrior women after the launch?
I agree with Jessica and Rebecca. I agree with you, Nikki. I just see it going farther than what we've maybe initially. I mean, our circle of friends and family and all that. But I see it really helping people that we may never know this side of heaven. I really see that. In fact, I have a young lady in mind that I want to just give her the book. I don't really know her. She's just a store clerk, but I want her to know that she's more than a store clerk. And I just sense that she really is struggling with a lot of questions in her heart and in her mind. And I believe she's just a representation of. I don't think it's going to be thousands. I really do think it's going to be millions of people. It's going to be like what they call evangelists, who know where to get their bread. They break off a piece and give it to somebody else. And then the next person breaks off that piece. And so I just see, that's what I see this is really about. It's breaking off that piece of bread and giving it to somebody who's hungry. And then that person turns around and said, now I'm going to give you a piece of bread. And that it's just going to have a chain reaction. And it's going to touch a lot of people. It's going to bring people that are going to learn about themselves by reading the stories. And it's also going to be about people receiving the healing inside that they need. Because there's a lot of people walking around and they look perfectly fine on the outside, but they're very broken. They're very broken on the inside. And I really see that this is a book of healing for people. And it's also a book of hope for people.
Absolutely. Oh my God. I loved every single answer, and I agree with every single person on this because it's huge. It's bigger than what we're thinking right now. And I am with Mama. It's going to go to millions, and we are going to see. So don't be surprised when you start getting fan mail and people contacting you and saying, hey, your story really touched me. Your story really moved me. And we have to be prepared for that. And what my hope is for Warrior Women is that we continue to stay connected and we grow bigger than what we are today. And I'm not sure if this is going to be an ongoing series. I'm going to have to talk to Desiree. She'll be on with us on Friday. So if you ladies want to come back and join us, it would be, I believe, at 1 p.m. And we are going to chat, kind of just get her inside of what really bring this to fruition, even though we all know, but we need to let the world know. And I just want to thank each and every one of you ladies for joining us today. We have some supporters in the green room that couldn't make it on because they were driving. So Karen and Kathy, I just want to thank you. They are also part of the co-authorship. They will be here on Friday. We have some other women joining us, so stay tuned. I absolutely love each and every one of you. I just pray that, you know, we continue to stick together as a sisterhood and really take this to the moon and back because I believe the world needs it today. And I just want to announce, if you have not gotten your ticket for the virtual event for May 13 from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., it's only $49. And we are calling everyday women, community that needs healing, stories that inspire, tools in transformation, with a Q&A with the authors in Warrior Women, Turning Life Lessons into Legacies. Hope you join us that day. If you have not locked in your spot, definitely connect with Desiree Cruz. Get that ticket. You want to be inspired. You just never know when you say yes to yourself, how life-changing that is. Thank you guys so much. We're going to close with just a commercial break, and we will see you on Friday. Talk to you guys soon.